Hi, Gary DeWaal here, and this is Bridging the Week for October 13th to 17th, and today is October 20th, 2014. Good morning. What should happen when clearinghouses and systemically important global financial institutions have to deal with financial abyss scenarios was the subject of a number of reports and a commentary this past week. Modern technology was also in the news relevant to the financial services industry, as an algorithmic trading firm was fined by the Securities and Exchange Commission for marking the close, while a research analyst was penalized by the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority for not being fully transparent in connection with certain of his Twitter posts. I guess the question then is, to tweet or not to tweet? I have no idea what that answer is, but I know it's time to start covering today's stories. So, let's get started. Athena Capital Research, a New York City-based high-frequency trading firm, settled charges brought by the Securities and Exchange Commission for allegedly engaging in manipulative trading activities from June through December 2009, commonly known as marking the close. According to the SEC, Athena designed and employed computer algorithms that enabled it to make large purchases or sales of NASDAQ-listed stocks just prior to the exchange's 4 p.m. close. These orders were placed each day after the exchange first publicized the net order imbalance in each stock 10 minutes prior to the end of trading. This indicator advised the market whether there were more buy orders than sell orders, or more sell orders than buy orders, and by how many shares. Ordinarily, the market price would be expected to move in the direction of the imbalance. For example, if the imbalance showed substantially more buy orders than sell orders, the market price for that stock would be expected to rise prior to the close, or fall if there were more sell orders than buy orders. The SEC claimed that after learning of the imbalance, Athena would place a large imbalance only on close order that was meant to take advantage of the perceived market conditions. Afterwards, Athena then would execute orders in the opposite direction of its close order, so-called accumulation orders, to help influence the market. Athena's objective, said the SEC, was for the price of its imbalance only on close order fill to be superior to the average price of its accumulation orders executions and to be flat in each stock by the end of each day. To settle the SEC's complaint, without admitting or denying any of the commission findings, Athena agreed to pay a fine of $1 million. The firm also agreed to be censored and committed not to violate the relevant provision of law and SEC regulation in the future. Curiously, there were no requirements of disgorgement or any other trading prohibitions. The Commodity Futures Trading Commission made self-executing and somewhat expanded previously granted relief from registration requirements to commodity pool operators who delegate certain activities in connection with private investment funds. You will recall, in May 2014, the CFTC provided a streamlined process for CPOs to request registration relief when they delegated all of their management authority to another registered CPO, the so-called designated CPO, related to a commodity pool. However, where the delegating CPO was a natural person of the designated CPO, such as a director, the individual had to agree to joint and several liability with the designated CPO. Also, among other limitations, the delegating CPO could not engage in sales activities for the fund that he or she served as a director. Under the Commission's new requirements, registration relief does not need to be requested if all of the enumerated requirements are met. In articulating its new requirements, Commission staff acknowledged that, quote, there may be other CPO delegation situations involving circumstances in which CPO registration no action relief may be warranted, end of quote. Staff indicated it will continue to evaluate such circumstances in response to requests submitted to it. The Securities and Exchange Commission has commenced an administrative action against Judy Wolf, a former compliance consultant to Wells Fargo Advisors, alleging that she altered a document that summarized her review of certain trading by a former Wells Fargo Advisors employee prior to submitting it to the SEC. The SEC had requested the document in connection with an insider trading probe of Wells Fargo Advisors after taking legal action against the former employee. In December 2012, after the SEC commenced a case against the former employee, Ms. Wolf amended her report to reflect, quote, a more thorough review than she actually did in September 2010, end of quote, claimed the Commission. Wells Fargo advisors produced this amended, not the original document, were requested by the SEC. If the facts alleged are true, what was Ms. Wolf thinking? Two international regulatory organizations have made recommendations on how clearinghouses and other so-called financial market infrastructures should plan to recover from market disruption events that might imperil their existence. The organizations are the Committee on Payments and Market Infrastructures of the Bank for International Settlements and the International Organization of Securities Commissions. According to the regulatory organizations, all financial market infrastructures should have a quote-unquote comprehensive and effective recovery plan that includes rule-based mechanisms to, quote, allocate any uncovered losses and cover liquidity shortfalls, end of quote, whether they are caused by a participant's default or otherwise. And finally, John Hickman, a former research analyst with MDB Capital Group, was fined by the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority for making recommendations about certain equity securities through Twitter posts without disclosing that he owned such stocks. As a result, FINRA claimed his recommendations were not fair or balanced and failed to provide sufficient fact for his Twitter followers to evaluate his advice. Mr. Hickman allegedly made recommendations through his Twitter account from April 29, 2009 through June 14, 2011 without the knowledge of his firm. To resolve this matter, Mr. Hickman agreed to a 10-day suspension from associating with any FINRA member and payment of a $15,000 US fine. Apparently he can keep his Twitter account, however. Well, that's it for this week's Bridging the Week. As always, there is more information in each article and more articles on the article version of Bridging the Week on the website. Until next week, this is Gary DeWaal, and have a great week. Ciao!